Hello, everyone. Welcome to your Using Food and Herbs as Medicine class. We're going to have a lot of fun over the next 45 minutes or so, maybe 40, 45 minutes. So while everybody is hopping on, let's just cover some details. If at any point you lose audio or video, you hop off, you hop right back on. We'll be here waiting for you. With lots of great information. I want you to also get a pen and a paper so that you could take notes, because there's going to be a lot of information that will resonate with you. And what I want you to do is take the stuff that resonates with you and start to use it and apply it, because that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, right? Because people will show up to webinar and class and all these online stuff, and they don't actually use the information, and then it's not useful that way. So what I want to do is I want to encourage you to use the information that I'm going to share with you so that you could make the most of this and you could have the most awesome experience using food as medicine. So as we're waiting for people to hop on, I'm going to get everybody present, because the more present you are to the information that you're going to learn, the more you'll be able to digest and absorb the information and use what you need and discard the rest. So getting present is very, very simple. We're just going to follow our breath into our body, right? Because wherever your breath is, that's where you are, and that's presence. So I want you to, if you're sitting in a chair, like I'm sitting in a chair right now, I just want you to feel your butt in that chair. And some people can feel a little bit more butt than others, and that is okay. And then I want you to feel your feet, if they're on the floor, and if they're in your shoes, wiggle your toes around a little bit. And then if you have your back up against a chair, just feel your spine settling into the chair. If you're walking while you're listening to this, then I just want you to feel your feet in your shoes, what it feels like when each foot hits the pavement, and we're just going to breathe. So we're just going to take a deep breath in through our nose. Breathe all the way down into your lower abdomen and exhale. And breathe in again. All the way down into your lower abdomen and exhale. And another deep breath in. All the way down into your lower abdomen. Now we're bypassing the chest for a reason. Exhale. And I want you to keep breathing. When we breathe into our upper chest, it's a fear breath. And if you are in a anxious or a fearful state, you won't be able to absorb the information because you'll be in fight or float. Fight or float. Fight or flight. And I want to get you in your parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, because I want you to be able to literally digest this information. So we're going to take another deep breath in. Try and bring that breath all the way down to your lower abdomen and exhale. Last time, deep breath in and exhale. Now you feel your feet again. Feel your butt in the chair. Relax. You're in a safe space. Renee, it started right now. Hopefully you can hear. Hi, Nina. How are you? I want to thank everybody for meeting me here today. And let me just make sure that everyone can hear. Oh, Nina, great. Yeah, Happy New Year, honey. Hi, Ellen. Okay, so let's get started. Hi, Michelle, little cutie. Sending love to everybody. I'm happy to have you here on this Using Food and Herbs as Medicine class. Hi, Kathleen. Everybody's going to be hopping on, and we're going to get started because we have a lot to cover. And this is great information. I'm a big fan of using food and herbs as medicine because I've been using it now for over 2 decades with myself and with my clients and with my students, and I love it. And I think that it's ancient information that got lost over the years. You know, as big pharma came in and the medical establishment took over, and all of a sudden recipes were, thrown by the wayside. And I'm so happy that they're making a comeback now because we need it now more than ever. With the more and more people getting sick and immune systems crashing. So we need this information to help us get back in alignment with what it feels like to be a happy, healthy, functioning human being with a body that works well. So let's get started with this. We're going to talk about what you're going to learn today. You're going to learn how flavor is essential to healing, what happens when you use the right foods but the wrong preparations, how to build the body to resolve deficiencies, when is it best to detox or cleanse your bodily systems, and then why using food and herbs as medicine improves your quality of life. And like I said, if you look around now, you see so many people on tons of medications and they're not feeling better, right? Or in some cases, they're feeling worse because each medication will lead to another symptom, another side effect, another thing that you don't actually want. So what I'm going to do is encourage you today. I'm going to teach you some of some ancient knowledge that you could use in your everyday life to help you be at a better place in your physical body, right? Because when the physical body is feeling good, your mood is going to get better. You have more energy. You'll be lighter in spirit, right? And of course, this is not a class where we're going to delve into the emotional and the energetic and the spiritual body. We're going to stay on the physical level and talk about food and herbs. And this is all on the physical level, right? So, of course, there are many facets to healing the body. But we're going to stay up here on the surface today, right? So that you could get a little closer to, okay, what is this? How can I use this to support my healing, to support my energy, to support my process? Okay. So for those of you that are here for the first time, showing up to your first class with me, welcome. My name is Andrea Beaman. I am a holistic health coach, an educator, a natural food chef, and an herbalist. I was named one of the top 100 most influential health and fitness experts. I'm the recipient of the Natural Gourmet Institute Award for Excellence in Health Supportive Education and the Health Leadership Award from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And I have online programs that reach students and clients around the world. And I love my job. I love teaching. I love sharing knowledge. I love being able to give you what you need to make it through your life in a happier and healthier way. So let's look at how food as medicine can benefit your life and your health. So when you start to understand food as medicine, well, actually, let me take a step back. Every culture around the world has used food as medicine. And they thought of food as medicine. There was no separation between your food and your medicine. It was your food was your medicine, right? So the body is your temple. It's this sacred place. And the food that you put in has a physiological reaction, as well as an energetic and a spiritual and emotional reaction. But we're staying, like I said, up on the surface today. So we're talking about the physiological reactions that your body has to food, right? So if you know that there is a physiological reaction, there is something that happens when you put food into your body, it's easy to make medicine. So when you start using food as medicine, you immediately have medicine right in your kitchen, meaning you don't have to run out to the local pharmacy. You just look in your pantry and say, oh, yeah, I got a cough. Let me go grab some thyme because it's an expectorant. Or I'm feeling dry. Let me hydrate myself with some type of liquid beverage, right? Or even some mucilaginous foods. So you'll know that there is medicine right in your kitchen. and you don't have to be a slave to the local pharmacy to try and get some medicine, right? You just go right into your kitchen, you open up your pantry or your refrigerator, and you say, okay, I'm feeling hot. I need something to cool me down, either a glass of water or a nice salad, right? All very cooling. So when you know food as medicine, you can learn to create delicious healing foods for yourself and your family. You'll save money on hospital visits, surgeries, and healthcare. You'll improve your energy and your confidence. You'll be able to boost your immunity naturally. You will not become a victim of big pharma, which is the #3 leading cause of death, especially in the United States today. And I know that we have people from all around the world on this call, but in the United States, #3 cause of death is iatrogenic diseases, which is hospital-borne, doctor-caused, or raw pharmaceuticals, right? So that's something to really be conscious of, right? So the #1 cause of death, of course, is cardiovascular disease, and that's for men and women. #2 cause of death in the world is lower respiratory infections. #3 is iatrogenic diseases, right? So when you know how to use food as medicine, you're not a victim anymore. You're like, okay, let's take, boom, goodbye #3. We don't have to worry about that one. So when you use food as medicine, you get a deeper understanding of food and how it affects you physically, emotionally, and energetically. So Carla says, and I'm gonna bounce back and forth to your questions that come in. Carla says, my daughter was just operated on yesterday for a cyst, endometriosis, and a myome. What foods can support her for recovery and to prevent heavy bleeding and cramping in the future? Cinnamon and ginger? If so, what amount? I advise her to remove milk products from her diet. Is this a hot or a cold situation? I'm thankful for your wisdom. Yeah, this is a much bigger question. Cysts, generally, when you have a cyst growing, especially in the lining like that, it's a cold condition. So if you think about ice or water, right? You think about liquid, and then you freeze it. It actually expands and starts to grow. So cysts generally in the endometrial lining are cold condition, right? And usually formed, lots of estrogen. Somebody could have estrogen dominance, right? So estrogen is cooling in the body. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's keep moving forward here, and then we'll open up to questions. So let's go to the next slide. That's a great question, Carla. And your daughter's blessed to have you checking in on her health. She's got a cold condition. She's got to warm up her uterus, right? Put some nice salves on there, some rubs, but also some warming foods. And some blood movers would be great. Rosemary, ginger, cayenne, all of those are wonderful blood movers. Okay, so let's look at food as medicine that does not work, at least not in the long term. So we have so many different diets on the market, and I just chose 5, right, or 6, right? But there's way more than this. We got paleo, keto, vegan, macro, AIP, which is autoimmune paleo, Whole30. You got Weight Watchers. You got diets, right? So a diet is something that you hop on and you hop off. It's not really a deep understanding of food and how it can promote health and wellness in the body. Most of these are to lose weight, most of them actually to lose weight. Some of them are for ethical purposes, right? So what we want to do is get out of the mindset of dieting, because dieting doesn't actually work. And all of these diets will work in the short term, but in the long term, I know that people, they'll get on a paleo or a keto or a vegan or a macro, and in the beginning, they feel amazing. They feel great. They're like, man, this is the best thing ever. I have so much energy. And then a couple of years later, they crash and they don't know why. They're like, why, this food that I was eating for so long that helped me feel great, now I'm not feeling so good. These symptoms are coming back. My bones hurt. I have aches, headaches. All of this stuff starts to happen. So we have to look at that and say, okay, well, what's there's something going on. There's a deeper element from these diets that is missing, and that's the ancient perspective of how food actually heals the body and supports it in a physiological way. So let's take a look at the next slide, right? Because actually, we want to understand the body and its effect on us at a deeper level. So let's look at what that starts to look at, right? So this is here. This is taken from the I Ching. The I Ching is the Yellow Emperor's classic of internal medicine. It's thousands of years old, right? This is not new, right? And it's all about the different flavors and how the flavors have an effect on our organs and our cells. So the sour flavor has a gathering and astringent effect, and it directly impacts the health of the liver. The sweet flavor has a retarding effect. It affects the spleen specifically, like it affects the whole body, but specifically, sweet flavor is affecting the spleen. Too much sweet will cause aches in the bones and weight gain. The bitter flavor has a strengthening effect. It supports the heart, but too much bitter withers the skin. The spicy and pungent flavor has a dispersing effect, but it affects the lungs, and too much pungent knots the muscles. And then the salty has a softening effect, and it's directly impacting our kidneys, and too much salt hardens the pulse. So thousands of years ago, they knew that each of the different flavors has a different impact on the cells and the viscera inside the body. So if we look at this list, and here's where I want you guys to put your thinking caps on. If you look at this list, what are the two dominant flavors in the human diet today? What are the two dominant flavors in the human diet today? What would you say? Yes, Carla. Yes, Michelle. Yes, Nina. Yes, Rosanna. Everybody's got it. AJ's got it. Christina's got it. Trisha's got it. Robin's got it. Kathleen's got it. Jennifer's got it. Linda's got it. Everybody's got it. Sweet and salty. These are the two dominant flavors in the human diet today. So let's look at these flavors, right? Because the other flavors are missing. They're out of balance. And if we look at why are people so out of balance? It's because these two dominant flavors, the sweet and the salty, have taken over. So sweet is in everything and salty is in everything. And there's a reason for that. They're both stimulating. The sweet actually energizes us. It gives us energy. And salt actually energizes us as well. So if we look at the ancient medicine, sweet in large quantities causes aches in the bones and weight gain. And look at people today. We're suffering from obesity as well as bone problems. And then salty, too much salt hardens the pulse. So hardens the pulse, this is high blood pressure, this is heart disease. So here we have some of the top contenders for why people are out of balance. Too much sweet and too much salt. Now, we need these flavors. We need them. It's just that they're out of balance. But we need to balance them with the sour, the bitter, the spicy, the pungent, right? And the umami, which I don't have on this list. It's the newest flavor profile, but it's always been there. So all of those flavors need to be in the diet. So like, for example, somebody goes on a paleo diet or a keto diet, and they take out all of the carbohydrates. Now, the underlying flavor of carbohydrate is sweet. So they take out carbohydrates, and in about a year or sometimes a little longer, they have a terrible crash, or they go into a depression, or they lack energy. They just feel like they got completely wiped out. And it's because the sweet flavor, which was in the carbohydrates that they took out of the diet, is completely missing. Or it's only in the form now of like chocolate, dark chocolate. Everybody's chocolate crazy. So we have to look at this and say, okay, well, those extreme diets don't work because they take out some of these flavors. They just take them out. They omit them entirely. So we need to be able to balance it. So let's look at this bitter flavor, for example. So the bitter flavor has a strengthening effect that supports the heart, but too much bitter is draining and it withers the skin. So now let's look at the people in the health and wellness community. Let's look at the people that are eating kale every single day, a few times a day, and they're cold, right? Because bitter, which is the predominant flavor of kale, bitter is draining. It reduces heat from the body. It releases liver heat, which is wonderful. But when I'm working with people, like, let's say, that are vegetarian or eating lots and lots of dark leafy greens, and they're like, I'm eating my dark leafy greens, I'm so healthy, but they're freezing, right? Or they have very low blood pressure, right? So I tell them, actually, no, it's too much bitter. There's too much kale in your diet. There's too much dark leafy greens. There's too much of that flavor. So it needs, so that generally they'll also start to tend toward the sweet. They'll be like, they'll have these sweet cravings. I need more sweet, because sweet is building, right? Sweet helps to build. So if somebody is draining all of their heat and draining all of their energy by having too much bitter, they're always going to crave sweet. So again, here comes chocolate into the health and wellness community. Oh, it's dark cacao. It's just cacao nibs, right? They're going crazy with the dark chocolate. Which, by the way, dark chocolate has a bitter flavor. But what do we do to it? We load it up with sugar. Load it up with sugar so that it's more tolerable. So the spicy, pungent flavor, right, has a dispersing effect. It opens the lungs. It opens the intestines. It moves things, right? It moves things along. So we also need that spicy, pungent. And then the sour has a gathering and astringent effect. So you look now, we have damaged our digestive terrain so terribly in the past 70 years. Like, it's unbelievable. So there's no surprise to me that we have an entire wave of fermented foods that are coming in to the human diet right now, right? Because the sour has a gathering and astringent effect. And most people, or not most people, but a lot of people are suffering with leaky gut, right? Leaking. So we want an astringent tone, and that's what the sour flavor does. So the people that are craving the fermented foods and craving all that sour stuff and craving the kombucha is because the digestive system is out of balance, right? It's been compromised. So we have to look at these flavors and see where we are in our health, and then start to apply the flavors, but also to have them in balance. Otherwise, the body gets out of balance. Trish says, if you eat kale every day, can you balance out with another type of food? Well, yeah, this is what I teach in my Food is Medicine program, but in all of my online programs, actually. You have to get, again, you want to get connected to the seasons and the cycles. And when you get connected to the seasons and the cycles, you'll see that more of one type of flavor will grow at a specific time of year. So, for example, in the summertime and in the fall, there's a tendency towards more sweet flavors coming out all over the place. And this sweet has a building effect, right? So if you're about to go into winter, it makes perfect sense that you get in alignment with the cycles and the seasons. You build up that body in the late summer and the early fall, so that in the wintertime you have enough energy. The energy descends all the way down into the kidneys and the bones, and you have enough energy to make it through the cold season. And then the wintertime is generally a more salty time. Salty, spicy, right? So I don't actually recommend that somebody eat kale every day all year round. It's not healthy. I don't care what the health and wellness community says. It's simply not healthy. It's too much. There's too much of that bitter, draining effect on the body. And if you're cold And if you're not feeling good, or if your blood pressure is too low, then I would take out the bitter flavor entirely until the body gets balanced. And then you could put it back in a more healthy way. So does everybody see that the flavors affect us in a specific way? And they have to be balanced. The flavors have to be balanced. If they're not balanced, we're out of balance. And this is ancient medicine. Emily says, what does harden the pulse mean? Okay, so this is from 4,000 years ago. That's taken directly from the I Ching. So they saw that there was a physical reaction inside the body that too much of the salty flavor hardens the pulse. So what that means is that the pulse becomes literally hard. Like it'll go from a soft, natural rhythm of a heartbeat to a bomb, 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 hard. When they're talking about hardening the pulse, they're talking about high blood pressure. They're talking about heart disease, right? So they didn't have the word, they didn't say, 4,000 years ago, this is heart disease. They just said, they looked at the physical body and they said, wow, too much, somebody eating too much salt, it hardens the pulse. This is the reaction, the physiological reaction inside the human body, right? So this is ancient medicine. And like I said, we know today that if you're putting salt on your food, you're going to get high blood pressure. It's a harder pulse, right? Pulse is going to go, yeah, Trish, that's correct. Yeah, so the pulse is going to get hard and fast, right? High blood pressure, hard and fast pulse. Okay, so let's take a look at the effects, right? The effects of cooking. So you could have food, many different types of food, and each of the foods also has an energetic effect on us when we eat it. So let's take the raw foods. When we eat food that is raw, it's cooling, it's refreshing, it's cleansing, it's hydrating. You would use that for someone that is hot, inflamed, or dry, right? You want to hydrate the body. So raw foods, especially raw vegetables, still have all of that water, in like raw salads, very hydrating. But if somebody is already has a tendency toward leakiness, right, or they're already runny nose, then raw foods would actually not work well for them, right? Or a smoothie, right? My favorite, everybody's favorite raw food. Put everything into a smoothie, zip it up, and there you go. There's all your cooling, refreshing, hydrating, right, stuff. But if somebody has something like inflammatory cancer or heart disease, right, which is a hot condition generally, unless they have low blood pressure and they're on the low end, right? Where they have low blood pressure. But if they're in the other opposite spectrum and they're on the hot side of heart condition, you actually want them more. Go salad, please have a salad every day, nice and raw, crunchy, hydrating, delicious. And then the pickled foods are sour, salty, and astringent. It's a good choice for people with digestive weakness. Like I said before, you look at how many people are having kombucha right now, or sauerkraut, or kimchi, like in large quantities. They're having a quarter, like even in a lot of those digestive wellness programs that are out there, they're like, eat your pickled vegetables, eat your sauerkraut and your kimchi and all that, because it's a good choice for digestive weakness, because it is astringent, it is toning, right? It's going to astringe and tone, because pickled is a naturally sour flavor. So a good example of somebody that loves pickles is pregnant women, right? Because the stomach is actually shrinking. It's getting, as the baby grows and the uterus pushes out and up, the stomach gets tinier and tinier. So the pickled food, the sour food, is actually pre-digested. It's very easy to digest. So it's a good choice for anyone suffering with digestive weakness. Steamed foods, slightly warming and hydrating. I would use these for people that are dry, but they have a tendency to be cold. Stewed, deeply nourishing with pronounced moist heat. You would use this for somebody who does not have a strong digestive fire. So, for example, stewed foods, the more you cook something, the sweeter it gets and the easier it is to process, right? Because all of the proteins and the starches and everything are already broken down. So, when it's already broken down, it's very easy to process that. So for somebody who does not have a strong digestive fire, right, somebody who's weak and debilitated, you wouldn't give them a salad, right? You would give them a stew. You would give them bone stock. Let's say an elder person, right? An elder person who's naturally, they have very low hydrochloric acid or lower hydrochloric acid, right? You would give them stewed foods that are very easy to process, very easy to chew. You wouldn't give them like a lump of steak and a potato. That's not for somebody that has a weak digestive fire. Like a grilled steak with potatoes is for somebody that has a very strong digestive fire, and they could break that down, and they have high hydrochloric acid. So even, the terminology hydrochloric acid is burning, right? It's a fire, literally. So if you have low hydrochloric acid in your stomach, or you just have a digestive weakness, then you're going to go with more cooked foods, more stewed foods. You're going to break it down with a different type of fire. Okay? Stacy says, what if the person that has bad digestive issues also has high blood pressure? Then you have to look to liver, right? So the high blood pressure is coming from liver heat. And the digestive issues are also coming from the liver not being able to metabolize properly. So we have to look at that. So the sour foods would be great, right? For somebody that has bad digestive issues and high blood pressure, sour foods are great, Stacy, because in ancient medicine, the sour flavor nourishes the liver, right? The sour flavor also will tone the digestive system. Yeah, this is, it's when we look at the body from an ancient perspective and how the foods and the flavors and the whole system reacts, then food is medicine. It's not a mystery anymore. Food certainly is medicine, and we could just go into the kitchen and start to cook up some stuff. Stacy says, what's an example of a sour food? Sour foods are any of the fermented vegetables are sour. Oats are sour. Raw vegetables have a tendency to be sour, right? So raw young leafy greens are sour before they turn bitter as they age, right? So a nice fresh mesclun green salad, that's sour right there. As well as you put on top of that salad some sour salad dressing, right? Something with vinegar, and now you're really cooling down that high blood pressure and you're supporting the liver. Okay, so let's keep going through here. We have sauteed. This is warming and highly energizing. Even when you watch somebody sauteing and that all the food is moving around in the pan very quickly, this is a highly energizing food. So if you're feeling low energy, go for a saute. Even the word saute in French means to jump, right? Saute means to jump. So when you're using food as medicine, you have to look at the person and say, okay, what do I want to give this person? What do I want their energy to be like when they absorb the energy that is this food that is their medicine? And then, of course, baked. When you bake something, you remove the moisture. It's actually drying. This is a great choice for someone that is feeling wet or cold, right? So someone that is always wet, runny nose, incontinence, right? They're wet and leaky, right? Baked foods would be great. Roasted, baked, roasted squash, baked chicken, right? Something like that. It's going to be more drying for their body. So that's the energetic effects of the various cooking styles. right? And there's more to it. There's more to it than that. Renee says, I've never looked at preparing food this way. Yeah, Renee, this is ancient medicine, and I'm a big believer, and I've been using it for over 2 decades, and I've been teaching my students and my clients how to use food as medicine. Because, most people just look at their plate or they look at food and they don't understand that it has an actual energetic effect on the body, a physiological effect on the human body. What the food is, the flavor of the food, how you prepare it, all of that has an effect on the body. So we have to look at that and say, okay, well, how do we work with this? So like Nicole just put in, what about someone with adrenal fatigue? Well, Nicole, it depends. With their adrenal fatigue, are they also cold and low blood pressure? Then we would look at that and say, okay, it's time to put in some sweet food. And when I say sweet, right, to build the pressure, licorice root is a great example. Like there's all these, on the web, you could look up licorice root and they say, don't take licorice root if you have high blood pressure, right? And I'm not talking about Twizzlers here. I'm talking about licorice root, the real deal, licorice root, real medicine. So they say, don't take the licorice root if you have high blood pressure because it increases blood pressure. Well, how does it do that? Licorice, if you were to taste licorice, real licorice root, it is very, very sweet. And you remember what I said in number 1, the flavors of food, that there's this building effect that sweet has. In ancient medicine, they called it a retarding effect, meaning a slowing, building effect. So if it has this building, the sweet flavor has a building effect, and you take licorice root and you have that, because it's very, very sweet, and you take high doses of it, it's going to build the pressure inside the body. So for my students and my clients, when they have low blood pressure, I get them on licorice root and I get them on sweet food in general, roasted squash, especially if they're cold with low blood pressure, roasted squash, roasted meats. Right? I want that in their system because I want to use that food as medicine, as an energizer. For the person with heart disease who is hot and fiery, no, goodbye animal proteins, except for fish, which is cooling, right? Goodbye. And we're going to put in lots of salads. Go ahead, go crazy, have a smoothie, right? Oh, that's great. Nina said, I've learned to limit cucumbers in winter. It cools the body too much for me and my hubby. Yes, that's exactly right, because cucumbers are a summer food. They're a summer food and they're hydrating. And when they're hydrating, it means that they're cooling. They're going to cool the body. So it's very smart listening to your body that way. So save the cucumbers for the summertime, a nice cucumber watermelon salad or a cucumber tomato salad in the summertime, very cooling, very refreshing. You won't need air conditioning. Okay, so let me get to number 3. Let's get to number 3 here. You have to listen to your body. So Nina was just a great example. Great example. She listened to her body. The cucumbers are too cooling in the body for her and her hubby. They feel it, and they limit the cucumbers in the winter. It doesn't mean you have to take them out entirely, but you limit them in the winter. So you listen to your body. Here's some examples. If you have bodily aches and stiffness, if you're waking in the morning and you have bodily aches and stiffness, it could be a time to cleanse, right? To release some things from the body. If you have excess heat, it's a time to cool. If like what Nina had, right? Her and her hubby were cold, it's time to warm, right? If you have swelling in the legs, swelling in the gut, swelling under your eyes, it's time to tone the body. If you have congestion and bloating, time to cleanse. If you have weakness and lethargy, like in the form of adrenal fatigue, it's time to build the system. Frequent colds and poor immunity, time to warm and build the system, right? Because you're getting a frequent cold, it's indicating that the body is actually too cold internally, and you're going to be susceptible to every virus that comes your way, right? So you want to warm the inside of the body and you want to build immunity, right? You want to move the blood. You want to warm and move the blood inside the body. So cayenne pepper, garlic, ginger, all of that stuff. For cancer, if you have any type of cancer, it's time to cleanse and detox, get the cells moving, get the mutagenic cells, get them breaking down, get them out, gone, goodbye. If you're suffering with poor bone health, it's time to moisten and build, right? So osteoporosis, you need to lubricate and build internally, right? Brain fog. And these are just some examples. Like somebody's confused and they can't think and they have brain fog. That means that there's a damp condition. It's time to dry the damp condition. So all of these are examples of how you can use food as medicine. So Jody Ann said, tone, how? Well, sour things tone, astringent things tone. You know, like if you think about things that tone, like I said, sour foods. So like when you want to tone the capillaries, I think berries are amazing. Now the modern berries that we've created in the stores that are gigantic are sweet, but if you go out into the wild and you pick a blueberry, really it's more sour than anything. That sour astringent is, you know, it's astringent and toning. It tones the capillaries. So that's an example of tone. Okay, so Emily says, what do you recommend to start out with a gentle cleanse? Oh, there's lots of stuff. So first, let me show you. This is how you use food as medicine. So I want you guys to really get clear to see how learning this type of wisdom could help you choose specific foods and preparations more wisely, right? You'll understand how learning this knowledge supports health and wellness more deeply rather than just eating the latest diet fad, right? You hop on a diet, you hop off a diet, you still feel pretty crappy. You feel good for a while, you feel crappy. This is really understanding how to use food as medicine. This is not about dieting. This is about really understanding food and preparation of food. So I'm going to take more questions, but before we do, I'm going to tell you about my training program, which is Using Food as Medicine. It's a program, it's an online program. It teaches you how to prevent and heal disease using food and herbs as your medicine. I teach you how to heal the #1 killer in the world, which is cardiovascular disease, it's heart disease and stroke. We use the various flavors to nourish the organ systems. I'll show you how to boost immunity and easily stave off cold and flu. You'll be able to inhibit the growth of cancer cells by detoxing and fasting. You'll learn delicious recipes for immune and lymphatic support. I'll also give natural detoxification and cleansing protocols for long-term health. You learn a wide variety of food and herb preparations, and you get delicious healing recipes for a variety of conditions. And Kelly's going to put that link into the chat box for you. It's AndreaBeaman.com/food-as-medicine-program. And I'm going to take you there right now just so you can see the program. So you can see all the amazing things that you're going to learn, or that you get to learn. Oh, let me take this out of here. Close that. So this is the Food as Medicine program. This is for people that are eating well but still not feeling well. They want to know how to use medicine, but they don't know how to use food as medicine. They know about herbs, all the latest herb fads that are out there, but they don't exactly know how to use them or what to use them for. Maybe they want to prevent heart disease and cancer. Maybe you don't have time to cook and you want some shortcuts or easy recipes that are delicious, healing, and nourishing. You want to support your immune system, detox your body to improve your health. You're ready for some kitchen remedies and natural medicine that works. So this is what you would discover in my Food as Medicine program, that not all food or herbs work for all people because you have to look at your underlying conditions. You'll understand the flavors that support the various organ systems, how each organ feeds the body as a whole, the food and herbs that best nourish the bodily systems, how to detox healthfully, how to inhibit the growth of cancer cells, the best mushrooms for liver health as well as other things for liver health, easy cold and flu remedies, prevention of heart disease, and immune and lymphatic support. And the program is, this is the overview. You get the class number 1, and everything is online. You get MP3s, you get MP4s, you get handouts. The first class is about cardiovascular health, which is both heart disease and stroke. We tell you how to support your heart and support your cardiovascular system through cooling foods or warming foods or whatever your body needs, because this is more about your body, not about, like I said, a specific diet. You get to understand food in a different way. And then, of course, we have supporting immune health, and this helps you understand your kidneys and the lymphatic system better, and the foods and the herbs that will support that and help you enhance your immunity. And then, of course, easy kitchen remedies. You know, like how can you just go into your kitchen and get the remedy that you need for a specific thing that you are suffering with right now. You'll learn how to make extractions, infusions, decoctions, poultices, stews, you name it. And then, of course, class number 4 is a spring cleanse and a detox. And you could do that any time of the year, but I recommend it mostly in the spring because you're going with the cycles and the seasons. And, of course, the Food is Medicine program, you get all of this stuff. You get your 4 classes, you get the presentations, the recipes, the tips on natural healing, the ancient healing wisdom, a lifetime of knowledge, and you get it all for $129, which is the best bargain you can get for your health. And let me take you back to the webinar. So this is what one student had to say about what she learned. She learned that she said, Food and Herbs as Medicine program is awesome. I enjoy hearing Andrea teach us. She has so much knowledge about food and herbs and so much more. This program is a wealth of information. It so resonated with me when Andrea talked about how the skin will show you something that is going on inside. As I'm presently experiencing psoriasis, I've noticed that when I did the spring cleanse detox and drank the herbal tea, my psoriasis symptoms, mostly the itching, stopped. A pimple on my arm is getting smaller as well. Also, I noticed that I did not have the aches and pain in my feet and legs that I experience daily, right? So she needed a cleanse. She took the information from the program and she said, okay, I'm going to do this cleanse from this class and see what happens. And her body had a physiological reaction. Remember, we want to use food as medicine. We want to use it wisely. So for you guys and gals that are here today, you get 47% off the Food is Medicine program. You'll get it for $68. Everything. You get the classes, the handouts, the information, the wisdom, everything that you need. You use code FAM57. I'm sorry, 47. FAM47. Use that code and you'll get this entire program and all the knowledge and a lifetime of wellness for $68. So I'll take you back to that page and I'll show you how to put in that code. So you click here, Food is Medicine program. Yes, I want access to the program. And you click the buy button. And I'm going to take this out of here. Let's put in, let's say Nancy Hedgeworth. Her email is nancy@aol.com. And we'll give her a password. And I'll create her account. And then put in, you go right here to have a coupon. And you put in FAM47. And hit apply. And that will give you this entire course for $68. And you have a lifetime to watch it. You're not going to lose access to it. And then you purchase and you get your first module. You get your first module, and the modules are released, one per week so that you're not overwhelmed. And it's really a lot of fun because it's a video class, right? It's a class that takes place in a kitchen, in an actual kitchen. So let's come on back here. You go to AndreaBeaman.com/food is medicine program, and it's food-as-medicine program / and you get that information. Nina says, just see this now. Super. Yes, Nina, send me a note, send me an email, and I'll get you that for sure. Let's see. Nicole says, I'm currently in the IIN program, but graduating in May. Will you offer another class at any time around then? This class is available always. This class is always available for you. And there's no timeline. There's no time frame of when you take the class, meaning, you could watch it whenever you want. You could watch the module this week. You can watch it next week. You can watch it 2 months from now. You can watch it 2 years from now. It's always available, this program. Okay. Nicole says, do you have a food as medicine book? No, not yet. I mean, I have some books that talk about the energetics of food and, my health is wealth. That's not so much food as medicine. But if you want to learn about the energetics of various types of food and how they affect the body, you can pick up my eating and recipe guide. That's a good one. Oh, so AJ said, I have 4 friends that just found out they have breast cancer this past month. I hope they are listening and sent them the link. Okay, so that's, like cancer is on the rise. So we live in a society, AJ, where we have, like I said, way too much sweet in the diet and way too much salt. And even the things that we think aren't sweet are, right? So when you cook food, you're making it sweeter. Like I said before, raw foods are more sour, right? So for somebody with breast cancer, if they have inflammatory breast cancer, you want to cool them. But if they have cold breast cancer that is estrogen dominant, right, something like that, then you don't want to give them more cold food because that's actually a cold condition. You want to warm them up. So, you would do a detox that has a really wonderful warming, detoxing properties. Right? So not necessarily a cold detox, like a juice detox, but something a little bit different, like just eating lighter, smaller meals, a little more cooked vegetables instead of raw. Because, having 4 friends diagnosed with breast cancer in 1 month, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. Carla says, celery is a hype now. What flavor is it and what does it do? Carla, that's a great question. Celery is salty. So what salty does is salty starts the production of hydrochloric acid. So that's why the celery juice is all the rage, because it actually promotes hydrochloric acid in the gut and helps you digest food better. So I know people are drinking celery juice and they're going celery crazy because of, medical medium. And I think celery is wonderful. It really is it's an underused food. Celery is also, parsley is a member of the celery family. I think parsley is seriously underused. It's both bitter and salty. So it's gonna promote the production of the hydrochloric acid, but it's also going to cool the liver and support the kidneys, right? So I think parsley is underused. I think celery is underused. They certainly both can be used as medicine. Renee says, if you fall under multiple categories, how do you know where to start? Well, you start with this food as medicine course, and you get to understand food a little bit better. And once you start to make balanced meals, the body will shift, right? So when I say balanced meals, I mean not too cooling, not too warming, but just balanced, right? They contain the majority of the flavors: sweet, salt, sour, bitter, pungent. Right? If you have all of those flavors within your meals or within a day, then you're bound to start to feel more balanced in general. Okay. So Catherine says, hi, this is Catherine. Oh, Catherine says, Andrea, if I already have an account, do I need to create another account because it won't let me log in without creating a new one? No, I don't think you need to create a new account. You just log into your old account, Catherine, and click on that Food as Medicine program and put in the FAM47 coupon, and that should get you right into the program. And if you have any trouble at all, just send us an email at info@andreabeaman.com. Nina says, Happy Healthy Thyroid book. Yeah, Nina, so for those people that are struggling with thyroid conditions, my Happy Healthy Thyroid book, it does talk about food energetically and physically and emotionally, but in specific relation to the endocrine system, the thyroid, and the adrenals. Thanks for the shout out, Nina. Okay, so Jody Ann says, approximately how long are the videos? The videos are approximately 50 minutes, about 45 to 50 minutes long. And you can, like I said, you can hop on and hop off at any time. It's literally a cooking class. So you get to see how to make things in the kitchen with ingredients that you have in your kitchen. Everybody has all the ingredients that I use. Rosanna says, when does the class start? The class is open always. This class is always available to you. There's no start date. As soon as you sign up, that's when the class starts. So if you sign up today, your class starts today. But again, you have access to this forever. Nina says, oh, this is too wonderfully cool. Hugs to you, Andrea. You're a cutie. Mary Lou says, this sounds wonderful. I'll be signing up. Adina says, I'm driving right now. Can I sign up as soon as I get home? Yeah, you can totally sign up as soon as you get home. Marilyn says, this is fantastic. I can't wait to do this. I went through IIN and you were always one of my favorite lecturers. I learned so much from you. Oh, thanks, Marilyn. Oh, yeah. So Andrea signed up in November. Excellent. So you've already been through the course. You know, it's got a lot of great info. I hope you learned a lot while you're there. And I'm sure I'll add in some more modules eventually. Right now, it's just the 4. It's really, it's really the basics to get you started to understanding stuff and moving in the right direction toward health. Okay, Marilyn says, is cancer something you will address in the program? I do touch on cancer, Marilyn, in the detox and spring cleanse, but also in the boosting immunity class. So in the boosting immunity class, you know, like one of the things that we talk about is medicinal mushrooms and how the medicinal mushrooms, they cause apoptosis of cancer cells. So apoptosis of cancer cells is the death of a cancer cell, and that's what you want. So when cancer proliferates, it grows out of control, it's because that, I believe it's the P53 gene, it doesn't shut off. There's no shut off. So it just keeps mutagenic, another cell, multiplying without dying. Right? So what you want to do is you want to cause apoptosis of that cancer cell. So that's what medicinal mushrooms do. And I'm a big fan of medicinal mushrooms. I love them. I use shiitake mushrooms all the time, maitake mushrooms. I use chaga. I use reishi. I use lion's mane. I love medicinal mushrooms. And you got to be careful with some of the medicinal mushrooms. You know, you can't just willy-nilly take them. So for example, oh wow, we're running over. It's 4:58 already. So like, for example, chaga, I love chaga, but it's very high in oxalates. So if you have a tendency toward kidney stones, or you can't process and digest oxalates, then chaga will actually be problematic, right? So you got to always know your food and how the physiological reaction that it has in the body, but in more specifically in your body, okay? Oh, Andrea says, I didn't know this webinar was live. I thought it was pre-recorded up to the 4th module. And she wrote, excellent. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, all my webinars are live. I haven't moved over into the pre-recorded webinar system yet. So for the past 10 years, I do all my webinars live because I like engaging with people. I like my pulse on the public, meaning, you know, I want to know what you guys are thinking. What do you need? What are your burning questions? Because my job as an educator, right, when we first opened this webinar, this training session, you know, I said I'm an educator, and that's what I love to do. So if I can educate you guys and gals, then I feel like there's a purpose, like there's this big purpose. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Andrea. Thank you. Uh, Anne says, I just purchased. I'm looking forward to learning. I'm a 2010 IIN grad, and I love all. Oh, Anne, you love all my programs. Oh, you're gonna love it. It's a lot of fun. We're cooking. You're learning some recipes. You're learning remedies. You're learning energetics of food. You'll get a lot out of it. Okay, so it is 5 o'clock. I want to thank everybody for showing up today and spending your time with me so that I could share this information and this knowledge with you. And I'm looking forward to teaching you information and practical skills in the Food is Medicine program. You're going to love it. And I will see you soon on the web or in a class or in the kitchen. And keep up the great work nourishing yourselves. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.